Colombia. You guys, this is my mug that I got from Colombia. And that was for the Stay Connected Couples Retreat. Some of you may have saw me post a few things about it. So we did our first Stay Connected Couples Retreat and it was beautiful. It was in Colombia, and of course I had to bring back a mug and other random trinkets to remind me of how special it was. But it was totally amazing. We had great conversation, great activities, and the whole idea is to reflect, connect, and grow. And I think Ladarius and I did that along with the other couples who joined us. So it was really great. Carrie! Hey, love! So yes, the couples retreat we're hoping to do it every year around September. So we'll be sharing more about it so that you guys can join in and have fun with us. I don't know where the next one will be. If you guys have any suggestions, DM me. All right, so I say we go ahead and dive in. Let's see. Oh, Whitney. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. Those are my random announcements just to share a little bit about the couples retreat, about a book signing coming up in October at Seminole State. Hey. Excited. It's going to be good. We're going to have some conversation. Y'all know I love to discuss relationships. So we're going to talk about that too. Yes. All right, you guys, tonight is fun. All right. Tonight is not necessarily a heavy topic. Tonight is about spice. So on my little reels, whatever you want to call it, I said stay lit, how to keep the spark in our relationships. And I definitely think that's easier said than done. And I also think this is something that we forever have to work on, okay? If you're in a relationship, if you're engaged, if you're dating, but especially if you're married, you have to actively pursue romance. You have to, Tamara, hey, hello everyone, thank you for joining. So tonight we're going to talk about how you have to actively pursue romance. You have to actively pursue fun. Why? Because life is busy. I'm going to ask one question and I know you all will have answers for it. Share some common things that stop or hinder us from progressing or making date plans with our spouses. So what are some things that might stop us from planning a date or from doing something special with our spouse? Just throw it in the chat if you can think of some. I'm going to throw out one right away. Children. Yep. If you've got kids, yes, Tamara, yes. Lack of childcare, yes. Let's get more specific. Yes, I agree. Tired. We have busy lives. I agree with all of this. All right, we have kids. Life, the fact that we are alive and breathing, okay? We have businesses, we're working. Lack of planning. That's literally one of my points tonight. The idea is we are living. We have two individuals who have crazy schedules. We may have little ones. Money. Spending money on Amazon. I'm guilty. I just bought some hair barrettes on Amazon. Do I need those? Not really. But will they make me a little bit happy? I think so. So yes, lack of money, finances, all of these are things that I wrote down too. I have kids, work, money, obligations, just being tired, being stressed. These are things that hinder us from being intentional about spending time with our mates, with our spouses. So before we even dive into how we can plan something simple and fun and romantic with our spouse, let's talk about the why. Why is it important to spend time with them? Many, many reasons. But one of the things is, a lot of you know that we do premarital counseling. Not just premarital counseling, we do marriage coaching. We do couples who may not be engaged, but they're thinking about marriage. And they just want to solve a few things and see if maybe they should pursue marriage with each other. We do all of that. And things that we often hear are things like, they don't know how to love me. We hear that. We hear we're lacking intimate connections and not always talking about sex. Or you might hear more so in friendship conversations, I'll hear things like we're becoming roommates. Janine, I'm happy you're here, girl. So all of these things are reasons why we should intentionally plan romantic moments, why we should have fun with our spouses, because it helps build connection. You guys know I'm all about intimacy. The more we socialize, the more we have fun with, the more we intentionally spend time with our spouse, the deeper our intimacy becomes. And that is critical. Spending time with them, just having fun, reminds us of why we love them. Can I get an amen? It's a reminder. There are times when we're thinking to ourselves like, man, we've changed, we've developed, we've matured over the years. And doing these fun things remind us of, oh yeah, this is my best friend. Oh yeah, remember I love hanging out with you. It brings that smile back. It makes you feel alive in the relationship again. Okay? So these are some things. Another reason is it helps us, as I said, it helps us connect. But it's our job. You guys, my sister, I think she's still on here. Audrey's on here. Today is her birthday. And I'm going to give her a shout out because I don't know if I was married or if this was advice that she gave me before I was married, because she was already married. All right. And she said, Alice, if you want your relationship to be romantic, if you want it to be amazing like the movies, she was like, then you make it like that. And at first I didn't understand what she was saying. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, if you want romance, then you make it romantic. You know, if you want all those goosebumps, then do what it takes to make it that way. And of course, it's not always that easy. I understand that we have different dynamics in our relationships, but that's what I want to talk about tonight. I want us to talk about planning, preparing, and play. So how do we plan? How do we prepare? And how do we play? Okay, with our spouses. How do we make our relationship what we want it to be? Let's dive in. Yes, happy birthday, sister. I love you. You guys, that's my older sister. She's freaking awesome. She's an awesome, awesome lady. So, if you've lost that feeling, I love that question. If you've lost that connection, I encourage the same thing. I encourage you to plan, prepare, and play. Because so much in our research says that when you do the action, emotions will follow. And often we don't want to do that. We want our actions to follow our emotions. Exactly. That's right. So we want to feel all lovey-dovey before we do anything lovey-dovey. And that's not, one, always the wisest thing. And two, it can work the opposite way. If I give you love, if I give my husband an embrace even when I'm upset, and we give a long embrace, like 20 seconds or more, it's a proven fact that your body starts to calm down. Your heartbeats start to melt together, meaning they start to become in sync. We start to feel that safe place. It's proven. So often we need to do these physical things and our emotions will follow. So even if you're not feeling it, I encourage you to do this and watch things change. And if you're a believer, I encourage you to ask God to help you make these steps towards your spouse. You know, pray about it. God, I am making steps toward them. Please bless my efforts. And see what happens. So let's start with planning. The first thing we need to do is plan. I understand that spontaneity is a thing, okay? Personally, I am a little spontaneous, but not a lot, all right? But spontaneity has its place in a relationship, but I'm going to encourage you to plan. I'm going to encourage you to pick a date, pick a time with your spouse, okay? So we need you, I need you to get with your spouse and say, hey, babe, on Friday the 19th at 6 p.m., we're doing something special. You may not even know what it is yet. That's fine. But put it on your calendar. Why? Because this is accountability. If they have it on their calendar, you have it on your calendar, we are now going to be held accountable that we're doing something on that day. Plan. Spontaneous is fun, but let's plan. Put it in your calendar. I have a physical calendar that I write everything in. My husband laughs at me. He puts reminders in his phone. Whatever you do, put it in your calendar. Why? Because we already said that we tend to be busy. Life happens. If you are not intentional, I'm going to say it again for those in the back who may not have heard me. If we are not intentional, we won't do it. That's just real. It will take a back seat to everything else that we have in life. If we're not intentional, we will not do it. Carrie, I'm obsessed with my calendar. I'm almost ashamed to say it. I now have 3. I have a physical calendar that I say is for me. Then I have this really fancy, like professional calendar that I say is for stay connected. And then I have like a desk calendar that I say is for the family. More so my boys. We'll talk about that. I've got a problem. All right, you guys. So we're going to plan. That's step number 2. My favorite one is number 2. We're going to prepare. You're like, Alice, plan and preparation, it's the same thing. I'm going to tell you what I mean. Prepare means put thought into it. Since we are busy, this does not mean that it has to be weeks in advance. Maybe you started thinking about it that morning and you're going to do it that night. Preparation simply means, what are we doing with the kids? Are we going to hang out afterwards? Which that's what tonight's basically about. How you can hang out in your home for cheap, okay? Not just for cheap, but it's quick. It'll be quick and effective. It'll be simple but impactful. That's what we want. It doesn't always have to be a big getaway. Like my girl Carrie went on a cruise with her boo. I'm not hating. Maybe a little bit, but no. I celebrate you. Good job. But it doesn't always have to be something big because maybe we can't get that time off. So what can I do small tonight that will be impactful for the relationship? That will sort of add a little spark, add some romance, add some fun. That's what I mean for prepare, okay? Whatever it takes. So preparation. You guys, I'm gonna talk a little bit from the love journal. If you have one, I'm not gonna ask you to pull it out right now. You know, it's not class where you need to follow along in the textbook. But I do want to show you, for preparation, something that I think is really effective is thinking about your 5 senses. Okay, if you did have the love journal, which you guys probably can't really see it, there's a section that says make it special. And when we talk about making it special, this is regarding using your 5 senses. Alice, what are you talking about? If you are planning a date night in your house, or let's say you're making dinner for your spouse, how can you make this special? You can make it special by thinking of the 5 senses. Who knows the 5 senses? Go ahead and throw them out. I want to see if you guys know them. All right, the 5 senses, if you know one, put it in the chat. I'm going to start. We've got sight. We've got sound. I'm going to try not to look at my notes. We've got sight, sound, touch, taste. Sight, sound, touch, taste. I'm missing one. Gotta look at my notes. Taste, hearing, smell. All right, sense of smell. Sound, sight, touch, taste, hearing. Yes, there we go. Think about those senses. Let's do it one at a time. Taste. What are you going to eat? Okay, if you're planning a special dinner, what does your spouse like? Maybe you don't have time for a dinner. Maybe you're gonna pick up some treats before you get home. I have recently fallen in love with oatmeal cream pies, but not the little Debbie stuff. I can't eat that. They're like homemade and they're at the Coop in 4 Rivers. Amazing. So good. Okay, so delicious. So maybe you're gonna pick up a treat a special treat for the two of you. Maybe it's a dessert. Maybe it's fruit. Maybe you're going to make a parfait because you guys are being healthy. Or maybe you're like my homegirl and you can make Janine, shout out to Janine. Maybe you can make delicious juices, okay? And you're going to make a special one for the night. What can you do that's special that the two of you will enjoy for taste? Okay, that's one thing. So once you figure out what you're going to eat, put a check mark next to taste. Next, what about hearing? What do you hear? When they walk into your special area, maybe you've decided to, you could use the living room, you could use your bedroom, you can use the kitchen. But regardless, when they walk in, is it going to be messy? Does it look like the kids just had a fit and left? Okay? Does it look like everyday life? What we're trying to do is transform what we see so that it looks special. Maybe you're like, yo, I can't clean the whole house in time for date night. Don't clean the whole house. Lead them to the special area. That one area that you cleaned. Maybe it's the bedroom, all right? You made it look beautiful. You cleaned it. Maybe it's the living room. Pick one area. You don't have to do it all. We're trying to keep it simple. So, I'm not sure if I was saying sight. I feel like I wasn't, but that's where we are now. Sight. Cleaning something up, okay? I literally keep stuff for special nights to make it easy. I have like a bag of fake rose petals. I put them out. I have a bag of the little tea lights, the electronic ones. I put them out. All of that has to do with sight. If you keep little things like in stash, then you can plan a quick last minute special date night for cheap and quickly. All right, why? Because you've got the decor already. You're going to get the food or the snacks. All right, so now we've got two things checked off the list: taste and sight. So I'm going to check it off my list so I don't repeat them. Now we have hearing. What's going on? What do you hear? Maybe we've got some jazz music. Maybe we've got our favorite playlist. Depending on the mood you're going for, it's up to you. This is your date. This is what makes your spouse happy. Let's remember that, okay? Because sometimes we will do things for us. For instance, if I were to plan a date night for my husband in this season and I went and bought 2 oatmeal cream pies, that would not be special for him. He would look at me and be like, you did that for yourself. Why? Because he's not eating sweets until Thanksgiving. Y'all, I know, I can't. I cannot with my husband. All right, so he says he's not doing sugar until Thanksgiving. He's been doing this for like 2 months now. Right. So with that, do something that makes them happy. And I see this. All of these are good ideas, but just not feeling it with my spouse. We can't go by our feelings. If we always go by our emotions, we won't do a lot of things. Okay, I may not go to work. Okay, I may not fix my kids' food. We won't do a lot of things. So with that being said, emotions and feelings are very important. I definitely don't negate them because they help warn us of things. They help, build connection. They do all of these things. But when it comes to your spouse, it's a little different because we've made a commitment. And most of us want to honor that commitment. And most of us don't want to live subpar. We want to thrive in our relationship. We want to have that real love. We want to have all those feelings. So I encourage you, just try. Pick a day. Pick a day, put it on the calendar. Just try and see what happens. See if you don't get a spark, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a spark. Now, do I think, planning this little date night's going to solve all problems? No way. But will it rekindle that little spark? Maybe you'll feel a little softness in your heart for your spouse. Maybe you'll look at them, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. You are sort of sweet. Okay, it might do a little something for you. And that's what we want. We want to start one step. We take You can't really see my hands, so I'll come up. We want to take one step. It can be a baby step, but take one step and see where it leads you, okay? One step. So pick a day. That's our planning. Preparing. We're talking about taste. You have something nice to eat, and it's catered to them, something you know they'll enjoy. And then sight. What are you looking at? How does it look? You know, is it messy? And you know, for some, it may not matter. But, you know, try to make it look clean if it typically is messy, because that will be special. Hearing, we're talking about sound. I usually like instrumentals, because if it's like my favorite song, I'll get distracted and I'll start singing, okay? So depending on how focused I want to be, I might just have an instrumental. But if you're going for fun, do a playlist that you know both of you enjoy. The song that you look at each other and you're like, yeah, I forgot we love this song. Music is so powerful. And I'm sure most of you know that by now. Kenny G, yes. Music is powerful. It can bring back old emotions. We want the good ones, okay? So don't play the song that they played when they were about to break up with you. Don't play that song, okay? But play the good songs, the ones that remind you of when you first met, the ones that you played when you were dating, the ones that you played at your wedding, that special song that you thought was hilarious when you went on a cruise. Play those songs that promote conversation and promote positive feelings. So what are you hearing? Now, I'm going to divert a little bit. If you're doing something like a massage night, I like themes. So if you're doing a massage night, or maybe you're doing like a salsa night, then play music accordingly. Massage, I love putting on that, you know, it's almost like yoga music, okay? It's just soft, airy, birds chirping, it's that thing. Create the environment. This is your date night. Do what you want to do, okay? Smell. I got a few things for that. One, don't you smell. You do not need to stink. Just gonna put it out there, okay? You be nice and clean, okay? Be clean for that day. Put on some cologne, put on some perfume, put something nice that smells good on, and then maybe even have a diffuser. Have some candles, you know, have something where when you walk in, it smells good. If you were actually cooking, you know, it's already smelling good. So now physically, let's smell good. All right, so that smell, that's very important. Very important. If you're going to, like we're talking about massage nights, if you have oils or lotions, make sure that stuff smells good, because that is the worst thing, to pull out a stinking oil and try to give a massage, ugh, and it's all over your body. No, don't do that. Make sure everything you're using smells good. Why? Because stench, okay, is a distraction. And we don't want distractions in our special nights, okay? So the idea is we're preparing so that the night goes smoothly. So smell, and now we've got touch. Touch would be maybe a soft blanket. I love a nice throw blanket. That makes me happy no matter what. So maybe you have a nice throw blanket. Maybe you're wearing something that feels soft and silky, or they've got something nice and soft on. Think about touch. What feels good? And there you have it. You've gone through all 5 senses. I'm going to paint a picture for you. Imagine this. You walk in your house, okay? You walk in the house, it's dimly lit, there are candles everywhere, sight. The living room looks clean. Typically it's messy, but it looks clean. You walk in and all of a sudden you hear your favorite song playing. This is the song that you and your spouse danced to on your first vacation together. So you hear the song playing. As you walk a little bit further, you smell something. You're like, oh my goodness, is this my favorite meal? Did they get my favorite pasta from my favorite restaurant? You smell it, they come up, they greet you, give you a hug, You smell them and it's your favorite cologne or perfume. They just smell fresh, okay? In that hug, you realize, oh, they're wearing clean clothes, okay? It's a nice new t-shirt, or oh, it's a new lingerie set. Think about this. This is a great night already, and it hasn't even begun. That is the power of using your 5 senses. If by chance you're like, Alice, I need a play-by-play for this. I need some type of checklist because this is a lot. It's good information, but it's a lot. If you need more, get the love journal. It's in here. I give you great examples. Or click on the link in Instagram. Give me your email address and you get the date night packet that has a checklist. It's going to review a lot of these things to make it easy for you. Another thing, we went through 5 senses. You don't have to do all 5. Sometimes that can be overbearing. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm going to do taste. I'm going to do sight and sound. We're going to have good food. I'm going to play some music and I'm going to clean up the living room. Stick to those 3. I would suggest pick at least 3 out of the 2 because that will make it impactful so that when your spouse walks into that space, they're thinking, oh, there's something different. All right, so there we go. We've got prepare. So plan, pick a day and time. Prepare, think about all of your senses and fulfill at least 3 of them, okay? The last one is play, my favorite part. For those of you who are just joining, we're talking about how to create a special date night. Something that doesn't have to be extravagant, it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be simple, but it can be impactful, okay? It can be beneficial to give you a little spark in your relationship. Because so often we get so busy in life that if we're not intentional, we won't have our romantic moments with our spouse. We won't have our fun times with our spouse. So we planned, we prepared, now let's play. What can we do to play? I've got a few things for you. And what I mean by play is, what can we do besides binge on a new series on Netflix? I'm not hating because I do it too, okay? I just finished Love is Blind, like their reunion. It was just 3 episodes or so. Like the reunion, okay? It was great. Okay, I do it too. But all the time, no. Our goal is to get to know each other, get to know our spouses deeper. It's to build that intimacy. So watching TV is not going to cut it. Not all the time, okay? So what can we do? My favorite thing, I should have brought it out here with me, you guys, is truth or dare. It's a homemade truth or dare, where basically you'd get a cup. We used a mason jar, and each of us wrote 3 questions. That would be the truth, and then 3 dares. We put them in the mason jar. So all together, we had 12 things in a mason jar. Just start picking. You guys remember the game. Just start picking. Pull out a truth. The questions could be sensual. The questions could be emotional, whatever you want. Maybe there's something you haven't been brave enough to ask your spouse. Put it in the jar, all right? But the thing is, you might get that question too. So it needs to be something general that both of you can answer. And the dare is up to you. When Ladarius and I did this, all of my dares were sensual. I can't help it. That's just who I am. So all of mine were risque. And he had crazy stuff in his, like go to the drugstore and buy my favorite snack. I was like, babe, like really? Like really? Like really? Okay. So you might have a mixture. But like we said, this is your date night. You guys do what you want to do. You create that game however you want it. So that night, maybe you're going to play truth or dare. What I love about that game, I'm pretending like I'm holding a mason jar. What I'm loving about that game is what we did is we pulled out maybe 3 that night, but then the following nights we would pull 1 out at a time. And so it kept something exciting throughout the week. So every night we'd go to the jar, each of us would pull out a truth or a dare. You never know what you're going to get. And then you just do that one activity. And it's fun. It's cheap. It's easy. But it helps light that spark. Okay? So we've got truth or dare. Another one is conversation starters. Conversation starters, we did some of those with my sister actually just the other week. They had a box of conversation starters and we went through them, read them, light and easy. If you don't want to buy the game, Google it. Okay, so conversation starters are nice. And then of course, I'm gonna direct you to my favorite, which is the love journal. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, there are activities in the love journal. We've got the guessing game. We've got what's on your mind. I love that one, by the way. It's one of my favorite ones. If you have the love journal and you haven't done these yet, they're so awesome. So check them out. So there are activities in the back. So the idea is you plan, set a date and time, you prepare, think about your senses, and then we play. If you want it to be simple, pull out the love journal, randomly open it to the back and say, okay, this is the activity we're going to do. You complete an activity and that's already been probably an hour of your time. You guys eating, talking, laughing. If you're playing truth or dare, you might have gotten a little something at the night. You know, what do they call it? A happy ending. All right. So it's a nice, fun, enjoyable night. Now, I dare everyone on here who's married or in a serious relationship, I dare you to plan something for this week. So this is what I want you to do. All right, don't get scared. This is what I want you to do. If you haven't already, I want you to go to Instagram, click the link, and get the date night packet. The date night packet is going to have the checklist for you. Go through the checklist. You don't have to do everything on the checklist, like we said, with the 5 senses, but do as much as you can. And then it also gives you a free activity. The activity is something that's also in the love journal. It's like a derivative of one of the activities. So you have something for play also. Now, if you're like, okay, Alice, I want to take it to the next level, then get the love journal. The love journal, this is your date night, okay? This is your whole play. You fill out an entry and then do an activity. Challenge accepted. I see you, Carrie. Come on, girl. So this is what I want you all to do. Once this live is over, get with your spouse, pick a day and time this week, and I want you to tell them that you're planning something special. So this is not a time for them to plan for you. You pick a day and time and you let them know that you're planning something special for them. Get the checklist, get the activity, get the love journal if you don't have it, and I want you to plan a nice indoor, it doesn't have to be indoor, but it could be, in your house, a date night. And if you're feeling fancy, please take a picture and hashtag it, what did I think? ADD, add spice. So I'm gonna put it right here so you know, and tag me. That's if you want to, because we don't have to post everything on social media. I agree with you. But if you want to, go ahead, hashtag your picture, add spice. That's what I want for you tonight, okay? That's what I want for you this week. Fulfill the challenge, plan, prepare, and play. All right? You guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you found it fun. I hope you found it beneficial. That's my goal. I don't ever want to waste your time. I want it to be beneficial. I want it to be helpful. So this week, let's plan, let's prepare, and let's play. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your night.